Whether it's a hot time in Florida or a rainy night in Georgia,
looking for trouble?
It's the perfect time for the TCBCast, an unofficial Elvis fan podcast.
Oh, yes, sir. Good to see you go, folks. Just glad to bring you the hottest thing in the country, real hot and blue, coming to WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee.
With your hosts, Justin Gosman and Gurdip Ladhar. The TCBcast is on the air.
Welcome to TCBcast, an unofficial Elvis Presley fan podcast. I'm Justin Gosman.
And I'm Gurdip Ladhar.
Gurdip, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. How's everything else going?
Good.
I'd be fine. We just continue, act like nothing happened. we just pretend it's like another week. And the fact that I haven't been on for months, that'd be the best.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes. As Justin said, I had to unplug for a bit. It's just everything going on in the world. It was just getting too much, and just not even just that, just like online in general. It was way too much noise out there, and I just needed to. Sometimes you need to step away and just gain your sanity, which is what I did. So doing well now. We're like in the middle of summer. We're going to be having a heat wave soon, so I'm not looking forward to that. But otherwise, everything is good. Everybody is good.
Yeah, not the only thing that's happening this summer. We have some big Elvis stuff coming in the next couple of weeks.
I heard, although I've been kind of unplugged from everything Elvis. Like, I know the major stuff that's going on. Well,
to be fair, you've been unplugged from everything.
Yeah,
like,
everything.
Even your superhero movies. You were like,
yes.
Well, I gotta catch up on those now.
Yes, so which I did. But anyway, tell us what's going on.
Well, obviously, just as a reminder for folks, as Beck and I discussed, I guess it would be 2 episodes ago now, Sunset Boulevard is coming out on the 1st of August, which is in a couple weeks. And Gurdip, what are your thoughts on the Sunset Boulevard set? It's covering 1972, 1975, and some rehearsals from 1970 and 1974.
Yeah, I heard you and Beck talk about it. It seems like the stuff we already have, right? And this is just being released for the mainstream people who don't have access or don't know what an FTD is. I think it's pretty good. Like, why not? Is it going to be any difference at all from what we already have?
I mean, Matt Ross Spang is redoing the first 2 discs mastering wise.
Okay, so that
mix.
So that's going to be different. I mean, when there's more Elvis stuff, that's always a good thing. Although, we're getting to that point where they're just going to re-release stuff now because there's nothing new. To provide us.
It's been the case for now, 40 years, 50 years.
Well, we got little sprinkles of new stuff. Right.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we certainly have gotten sprinkles of new things, but we're definitely we're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Because I don't think anybody could have anticipated that there would be a box set themed around RCA Studios on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true. Is this something you're going to look at purchasing, or you're like, I have it, so I don't need it?
Yeah, just the digital version, probably. Not gonna bother with the physical box set. It's 2025.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be on Spotify and Apple Music, so it's obviously we can check it out. But I'm sure there's hardcores that still buy the physical stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's always the collectors who need to get the latest and greatest. And as I understand it, Colin Escott is doing the liner notes, so that'll be the one thing that I'll probably miss until I'm sure there'll be somebody who will send photos of the booklet or something to me. It's the same thing that happened on the Memphis set. So,
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm glad there's at least stuff coming out. Do we know what price points on this thing?
It's pretty spendy. On Amazon, $71 US.
Wow. So we're looking at about $100 Canadian. So. Yeah, and how many discs? 4 discs?
5.
5 discs for $100? Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, 111 Canadian. Yep.
They're 111. Okay, so more than what I thought. Raked over the coals here in more ways than one.
Yeah, the MP3 obviously is a lot cheaper, and then there is the 2 LP vinyl set that's coming out as well, which is just highlights. Basically, it's a couple highlight discs.
Who would buy those? I always never got
Oh,
that.
vinyl
Like,
collectors love those.
but you're not getting everything. You're like missing out. You know, that's what I
Yeah.
hated back in the day. Back in the day when I didn't have a CD player, I only had a tape. And you would look at releases like Essential Elvis, and they would include one or two extra songs on the CD that weren't on the tape. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, what is this? Not what is this BS? I hated that. But now it's like the inverse. It's like people who want vinyl, they're like, well, they're not getting everything, so why would they not just
Yeah.
pick up the CD?
Yeah.
CD
Fair.
in
It's very fair.
2025. How crazy is that? That's insane.
One other thing, we have two other things news-wise. The big one that's happening this week is that the Elvis Evolution show that we've been talking about since the beginning of last year, 2024, when they announced it, is finally opening in the UK. This is the one that, for a while, they had promoted, including, I went back to the original Billboard magazine article that was announcing it and talking about how the CEO of Layered Reality, the company that's putting it on, was talking about how, quote, the end of this experience is a real crescendo where you'll see a life-sized Elvis in AI perform some of his biggest hits. And back in October, we saw a preview video where they were definitely working on some kind of deep fake Elvis. But the BBC did a preview, and I think word is starting to get around from fans who might have gotten previews or something like that. It doesn't seem like the AI Elvis is part of the show anymore.
Oh, okay. I guess they thought it didn't look good enough.
Well, as it turns out, there's actually, I think, a reason behind it. They had delayed the show for a while because I think the visual effects company that they were working with went under. And I don't know how that affected the production. We don't for sure. Like, we'll have to wait for actual reports verified from fans who did go to the show. But yeah, apparently it's probably not going to be. It's definitely not going to be what a lot of people were expecting, which I never expected. I never expected it to be like a full on. Like, people were comparing it to the ABBA show, and I'm like, that's not really what they said it was going to be. It was going to be a, like, walkthrough of themed areas with actors and props and things like that. A multi-sensory experience, smells and things like that. And then at the end of it, there would be, you know, a little AI Elvis doing songs, but it wasn't going to be like Elvis the concert full stage production.
Right. We're still probably 10 years, maybe 15 from something that would totally pass and fool
Probably.
people.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing that's happening the end of this week. And then the
Do
other
we know
thing,
anyone who's going to it?
I don't know for sure. I haven't heard from any of our listeners in the UK if anybody's planning on going.
Let us know if you are.
Absolutely, let us know. And let us know how it turns out, what it actually really is. And the other thing is, of course, a reminder that at the beginning of August as well, August 5th, Peter Graulick's The Colonel and the King releases. So,
This one's going to be, I've heard rumblings, it's going to be controversial.
yeah. We'll just leave it there.
Well, some of the pre-release stuff that they've talked
Peter,
about
yeah,
is going to be, you know.
Peter had a Publishers Weekly interview where he was really trying to skew things heavily in Colonel's favor. And from what we've sensed from folks who are familiar with the contents of the book, we'll just say that we think that's probably how the book is going to lean as well. So, but we'll be I'm very curious to see the approach that he takes to get there. So,
Well, we know he's always he's
had a
last
soft
few
spot.
Books. Well, we know his last few books were great on Elvis, so I just hope that he continues that trend.
That's the hope. But yeah, certainly he's always had a soft spot for Colonel Parker. I mean, going back to Careless Love and
Well, he was critical.
He
of
was.
the Colonel.
He was.
So
So-
it's not like he was oblivious to that.
yeah. So we'll see how it goes. We have a few new patrons we have to thank here at the top of the show as well before we get into listener feedback. So I want to send a huge thank you out to Keith, Eric, Kate Black, Klaus, and Nikki. Thank you all so much for joining up over at patreon.com/TCBcast. Really appreciate the support. And
Sure.
And last, before we get to our main topic, we have a bunch of emails and feedback.
Hopefully they're talking about me and how I've been awesome on the show the last few weeks.
Oh, no, they don't want to talk about you. They want to talk about Felton Jarvis.
Oh, yes. You and Beck with the Felton Jarvis.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to listen to that yet? Or
I did listen to it.
What did you think?
It was interesting. Yeah, you guys, kind of like Peter Gorelnik, you guys kind of changed your minds about Felton and how he was more of a victim of circumstance than someone who was inserting himself into the Elvis world and how his music should sound. I kind of agreed with you guys. Although I don't think he really was the right person to be working on Elvis music, because you can't have someone who's a super fan work on the music of the person he's a fan of. Because
you can't have a sycophant. Yeah,
it's he's going to be blind to the negative things of what Elvis was doing. If people think there were, like, he wouldn't be objective.
Yeah, that's very much, I think, the consensus with a lot of these emails as well, is that we got great feedback. I'm not going to read everything we got because there was comments all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think we even had some chatter on the Steve Hoffman forums, which rarely happens.
Wow.
Sparked
it hurt a nerve.
It did. It seemed to have struck a nerve, and I'm glad that it was causing people to reassess and start talking about it in a more thoughtful way. Certainly, Felton has long been a contentious figure in the Elvis fandom for a lot of different reasons. The emails that I picked here are just the ones that I think really had some points that I wanted to talk more about, elaborate upon. So let's go ahead and dig right in. The first one comes from Call, who writes in to say, "Hey, Justin, just wanted to say well done and to Beck on the Felton Jarvis episode. A superb deconstruction of one of the myths that has just been come to be accepted in the Elvis world simply by way of repetition over the years. Only you could have pulled it off. Cheers, Call." And to Call's point, I actually want to take that baton on the myths accepted by repetition. And the example that I didn't really get to talk about in that episode, but was hilarious in my research, was there was an article from Elvis the Man in His Music magazine by Luther Moore, and it was a Felton Jarvis Reappraised was the title of it, and it was essentially trying to do the same thing that I did with that episode, but to show you how entrenched this idea was, I'll just read you the excerpt of this one paragraph about some of the 76 recordings. Quote, "More distressingly, most of what was recorded were either hurriedly executed cover versions or syrupy middle-of-the-road ballads that catered to Elvis's increasingly melancholic maudlin outlook, a situation that Jarvis simply couldn't control. Moody Blue showed a definite improvement, even if it was another cover version, but the album of the same name was awash with the usual strings and horns, arranged again by Bergen White, in a style that had long since become outdated. Undubbed session outtakes reveal just how ham-fisted these arrangements were, with Jarvis's astonishingly inept handling of It's Easy for You being especially abhorrent." End quote. So I think this is really funny because obviously I think I constructed a fairly good case by the end of the second episode that at the very least the arrangements were not outdated for the field that Elvis was working in, which was country music, and not only that, they were very much in keeping with what was popular at the time. Pulling together that montage of Bergen White arrangements, showing that he was doing that with everybody that he was working with. That was just the nature of what countrypolitan music was at the time. It's okay to dislike that, but it doesn't mean that it's out of style for where the music was being directed. Speaking of It's Easy for You, listening to the undubbed session outtakes and saying that the arrangements were ham-fisted, I mean, that's just Elvis and the band. It's not really, like, Felton doesn't really have a say in that. But even for that, it's easy for you, and a lot of the 76 material doesn't really have overdubs on it in terms of strings or horns. Like, it's easy for you. Doesn't have strings or horns, even in the master version.
I had a wife, and I had children. I threw them all away. And now you tell me, you dare to tell me, I should go back to them. What do you think? What on earth do you think I should say?
The only thing that's even remotely close in there is David Briggs's electric piano, but that's not orchestration. So I just thought that was funny that people immediately jump onto the 76 material, but honestly, yeah, there's some egregious ones like The Last Farewell or something like that, but there's some that I think it's just the production style, that it has like the very heavy like echo or reverb on Elvis's voice. There's a lot of production sound on it that isn't actually strings and horns. It's just like fattening up of the rhythm track. And the undubbed or these remixed versions just sort of present, like we heard on the Memphis set last year, present a more thinner, cleaner version that you can hear all the instruments a little more clearly and hear Elvis a little more clearly. And to that point, there's an email we got from George, who's written into the show before. George says, "Dear Justin and Beck, wanted to say how much I enjoyed listening to the 2 episodes on Felton and his influence on Elvis's albums, primarily in the 70s. Justin, you did such a good job on your research, and I hope as many Elvis fans get to hear this as possible. If Elvis wanted the simple sound of a 3, 4, or 5-person band, then that's what he would have done in his stage shows. There are things I wish Felton would have done differently and pushed Elvis a bit more, but the fact is that had he done that, Elvis most likely would have fought back, because in the end, Elvis did what he wanted to do. I always thought when things were getting rough later in the 70s that maybe it would have been a good idea to bring in someone else to work alongside Elvis and Felton. You could keep Felton in there because Elvis was comfortable working with him, but bring in a new voice to maybe help Elvis get more excited about recording again, similar to how the American sound music was made. In the end, I do enjoy hearing the music as it was released at the time, strings and all, but it is cool to hear the stripped down versions like on the Legacy edition of the Today album, getting to hear dubbed and undubbed versions. In the end, to me, of course, the pure version are the originals as they were released. Thank you so much for doing such a great job on the podcast every week, George." I agree
with George. The reason why Felton was there, because Elvis felt comfortable with him. He knew he wasn't going to push him or make him do something he didn't want to do. He would be there just to support him. And if we had another person brought in, some other producer, they might do things that Elvis didn't want to do at the moment. And at that point, RC just wanted him recording anything, something.
Period. Yeah.
he didn't want to go in. So it's like, well, if you push him, he's not going to record, and it'll just go into legal stuff. Then like he's obligated to do it. So I think that's the Felton was essentially the middleman who just said, "Please record something."
Facilitated, yeah, like please do anything. Yeah,
just anything. If he got pushed, he wouldn't have recorded anything. That was the problem at that stage in his life. And he didn't want to challenge.
Yeah, I think the problem that I've seen is that some folks tend to conflate Elvis's lack of interest in recording with a lack of interest in how the recordings he did do were released. And I think that that's a fallacy, because I think it's very clear that Elvis did care about what did get laid down and did get released, because he was approving the masters, he was approving the albums, he was giving Felton notes, as we talked about the Today album. And I'm sure we can even look at the example of material from, well, I use Hurt in the episode as an example of one that Elvis, with Glenn Hardin, added more orchestration in his stage show. Right. So what they were doing on those albums was very much in keeping with what Elvis was already doing on his stage show. It's just very of its period. It's very of the genre. It's very countrypolitan. And so, I mean, going to what George said there, I think it is great to hear both the dubbed and the undubbed versions, because you get all that insight. I just think we have to be mindful that they're maybe not any more artistically valid or representative of what Elvis wanted at that time, just because of the lack of orchestration. But there's nothing wrong with, and this gets kind of down to what you and I have talked about on these remix episodes, like dance remix episodes and stuff. Because there's always that debate of, and I think Manasi, whose email I'm also going to read, points out, and may have pointed out on our social media, like, I argued in a confrontational way in that episode, like, are we, and is Sony being disrespectful to Elvis by undubbing his masters? And the argument then in turn was, well, isn't it disrespectful to do, other tinkering? Wouldn't remixes also be disrespectful? Yes, like
you can't be disrespectful to a dead guy. he doesn't know what you're doing.
True, but the principle is, I understand the principle, and you could flip that on your head on me, but it's more just, it was the issue of, Matt Ross Spang and Ernst Jorgensen's approach in remixing them is the same as if someone else just did completely different overdubs, like with Viva Elvis or the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra or whatever. It's just another producer's interpretation and another arranger's interpretation of that music using elements of the original recordings. And it's fine. It's just, you can't say that that's what Elvis would have done. That's why people get so upset with Priscilla saying that the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra is exactly what Elvis would have done.
I feel my temperature rising. Help me, I'm flaming. I must be 109. Burning, 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 and nothing can cool me. I just might turn to smoke, but I feel fine.
Yeah, no. You can't put words into the mouth of someone who's dead. It's like they have no say. You can say that this is a new interpretation that would be interesting for people to listen to, but you can't say this is what Elvis would have thought.
And the undubbed versions are also just new interpretations. So Lewis writes in quickly to say, excellent research. Was Felton responsible for the track listing of Back in Memphis? I was under the impression that Chips picked the best of the 33 or 34 tracks recorded at American Sound, 4 from Elvis in Memphis, and then his obligations were done, and that was it. Also, a friend of mine hypothesized that most of the material picked for the 1980 Guitar Man album, including the unreleased mixes that came out years later, came from the American Sound sessions, which in turn I believe represented the most songs that would be remixed for the Guitar Man album of any session. Why? The speculation was that Felton was still trying to claim superiority over Chips. Thoughts, Lewis?
I don't. Do you think Felton thought he was superior to Chips?
I mean, there was definitely, you read the accounts in all the research, and there's some petty dick swinging going on between all those guys back in the 60s. Like, that's just how those guys were. But I don't think that, like, a decade later almost, that Felton was trying to be like, oh, I'm so much better than Chips moment. Like, they were off doing their own thing. Like, Chips kept being successful, you know, and Felton was still working with Elvis and handling Elvis material. Honestly,
Felton was still working with a dead guy.
I think with the Guitar Man album, if Felton was trying to claim superiority by taking the American Sound songs, he did a pretty terrible job, because there's only 2 on the final album, which is I'm Moving On and After Loving You. And Felton absolutely approved the final track list, because in that audio interview with Felton, he talks about every single track that was on the final album. But if you even factor in, as Lewis said, all the songs that were not on the album that Felton tinkered with, there are a lot of 1969 stuff, like I'll Be There and In the Ghetto, Long Black Limousine, Kentucky Rain. But with the other ones that have leaked since, we know that he also brought in Susan When She Tried and Shake a Hand, Bitter They Are, Burning Love, The Fool. So I don't think it was so much that he was trying to dominate Chips Moman's material. I think Felton probably was going, Does it fit the genre? Is it country enough? Does it have the feel right? And also, can we get a clean vocal off of it? And say what you will about, everything else, the 1969 recordings were really well recorded. Like, the separation's pretty good in there by comparison, especially to a lot of the stuff that Felton oversaw, because famously Elvis preferred having everyone in the room all, and there's constant, Burning Love, they can't really, aside from now with audio separation with AI, you can pull it off, but I remember that you couldn't really get the vocal separated from the drums because it was just so loud on the original Burning Love.
Right.
And now you can. The technology is there, but it restricted what they could even do with that song for the longest time. I think that's why the version of Burning Love that Felton worked on at that time wasn't picked, because it's ultimately not that different from what they did in 72, aside from like a little bit more in the way of guitar work. But it almost is not enough setting itself apart from the 72 version. Shane Tutmark, who's been on the show. Do you remember Shane?
That's right, I did.
Yeah.
Didn't Shane have his own show before?
He did, yeah. Him and Jason, I think, had a little more conversation. That was 5 years ago, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. But Shane's still out there, still listening. And of course, he's a musician and producer himself, as we talked about when he appeared on the show. Shane chimed in to say, great episode, well-researched as always. Definitely a subject worthy of this kind of deep dive. One thing I disagree with, though, as a musician and producer myself, is that your argument that Felton should get a pass because he was a good old boy and maybe didn't know anything about orchestrating, that would be my argument why it's even more his fault. Being a producer isn't just about having technical skills, it's about having taste. Chips Moman wasn't writing the string and horn charts, but he did have taste, and he helped guide his arrangers with his vision. That's the problem with Felton's sessions. He must have thought the string and horn arrangements were good, otherwise he would have suggested to the arrangers to go in a different direction. The fact that he was independent from RCA in the 70s, as you point out, implies that what he was sending to RCA was something he was satisfied with. And while I agree Elvis is partly to blame, I feel I've mostly heard stories of Elvis listening to playbacks from the live band sessions and then being shocked when he heard the final record. I'm not sure how much Elvis can be blamed for the syrupy sounds of the 70s arrangements. Again, thanks for the great episode and thought-provoking deep dive, Shane.
So he's putting it back on Felton more.
A little bit, yeah. And I'll say I completely agree. Like, Felton's tastes as a countrypolitan Nashville producer, like, that's totally fair criticism. And that's why I kind of pulled it back towards, like, talk about what Bergen White was doing in other Nashville recordings, and that he brought him in for the 76 stuff. It's like Felton put, I think, as much trust in the arrangers as Elvis put in Felton, which is too much, and too much blind trust. Like, Felton, I don't think was musically articulate. The evidence is just not there that he was musically articulate to give the kind of notes that you would hear from an arranger like Glenn Spreen, but I think Felton just said, do something that sounds good, sounds commercial, sounds conventional, and fits broadly with what Elvis is doing in his Vegas shows that he clearly likes. So
what did Felton do to earn that trust, though? It's not like he had this track record. It was just like he got along with Elvis, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and nothing he did that you'd be like, oh my God, this is how this is what makes him great.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that it's just like Elvis trusted Felton to do it. And, to the point about the, hearing stories about Elvis listening to playbacks from the live band sessions, being shocked when he heard the final record. One of those is the Today album, which is where he specifically asked it to be overdubbed. But the other ones that you often hear are more from the 60s and like 1969. Like, I was watching, I went and looked at Elvis by the Presleys, and you hear Jerry Schilling and Priscilla Presley talk about Elvis apparently being upset, according to Priscilla, with the final version of Suspicious Minds, like that it didn't have as much punch or as much kick as the acetate that he got given at some point. And that's probably true. It's entirely possible, but we don't actually have a transfer of Elvis's personal acetate to compare it with and see what it was that Elvis was objecting to. So it's careful that we don't just say broadly, we hear all these stories. We have to be specific about the stories and which sessions or songs they're referring to, because otherwise we start painting with a broad brush. And the other thing too was someone was pointing out, I think in the Steve Hoffman forums, about like, is the suggestion that if Elvis had a different producer, could he have like had better schmaltz? Like, would the syrup have been better, but better string section, better horn section? Yes, like I think so. I think like you could have had a producer who was more in tune with what pop audiences wanted, and not so much Nashville. But I as I sat there with it, I'm just like, well, at the same time, you got to factor in, did the general public really want the songs that Elvis was recording, though, in the 70s and was interested in recording? Because that's the biggest factor of all. Like, as I said, what are you going to do when Elvis wants to do Richard Harris's My Boy? Which it's a sappy song, no matter which way you cut it. And to both Elvis and Felton's credit, a top 20 hit on both the pop and the country charts. So, you know, maybe their instincts weren't entirely wrong for that specific time period.
I have laughed, I have cried, I've lost every game, taken all I can take, but I'll stay here just the same. Because you're all I have, my boy. You are my life, my pride, my joy. And if I stay because...
I think there are a lot of fans who get this bug up their butt about orchestration in the 70s who much rather would have preferred that Elvis just, you know, get Scotty and DJ and go back and do a bunch of county fairs like frickin' Orion or something, you know, I don't know.
Some kind of unplugged acoustic set.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That'd
Which,
be amazing.
I mean, it could be interesting, but I think it would have taken Elvis a lot longer to get comfortable with that idea. And even then, you'd have to dangle a carrot in front of him that there's something intrinsically valuable in there for him that was more interesting than just being a nostalgia act because that's what his fans want.
Oh, see, TC Ladhar. Oh, see what you have done. I said, see, TC Ladhar. Oh, see what you have done. Well, you made me love you. Now you love me. Well, I'm going.
Okay, sorry, Gurdip. We got one more last email before this main topic.
Okay, wow. It struck a nerve with that.
I know, we did. It really did. So this one comes from Manassi, and this is a big one. Hi, Justin and Beck. The episodes on Felton and overdubs are very well researched as usual. Yes, Felton doesn't deserve ridicule or full blame. He was working with a difficult artist in a difficult situation, and he tried his best despite failing health of his own. Yeah, I didn't really talk about Felton's health. I probably should have.
Didn't Elvis get him a liver or something?
He did. Yeah, it was a whole... I can't remember if it was liver or kidney. It was a whole
maybe
thing.
One of those, yeah.
Yeah. And then he was
kidney. I think he was on dialysis.
Yeah. Again, one of those things where Elvis just wanted to help a friend. But anyway, email continues. He seems to have been an empathetic person, and that must have been of value to Elvis personally. Well, absolutely. Felton did get to work with his idol and the credit as the producer of one of the best musical talents ever, so he did fulfill his dream after all. Now, arrangers are one part of the entire record making, like musicians, associates, engineers. They would ultimately work on the brief given by the person in charge, so I disagree that they are ultimately responsible for the final overdubs. To that point, I would say I wasn't saying that they're responsible. just that they should deserve credit if you like it. And that's why I said the blame should go on somebody else other than the arrangers, but because they are following like a brief, but I just want their names to be in the mix more for the credit for doing the arrangements. Email continues, the final responsibility is that of the producer, Elvis or Felton. Is Felton responsible for the overdubs, or is that the aesthetic of the era, or is it Elvis? To me, the overdubs as a principle are not the issue, but how good or bad they are, not just to our ears in 2025, but even to contemporaneous trends. On one hand, Elvis was growing so disinterested, you even used the infamous "it's just a hobby" recording, that he was loath to even show up. So how much minutia was he realistically getting into consistently? How much was the process of overdubs like we hear on the 1970 rehearsals? There we have Elvis going into detail on minor details, like the horns are answering the call, and we don't have to emphasize that he's lost, and so on. As the decade moved along, sure, he had a broad idea plus affinity, and he approved, disapproved the final masters, but increasingly he was not as hands-on as he was earlier. The actual final implementation was on Felton. Can we say that these are amongst the best syrup if Elvis had to have syrup? And I don't mean syrup in a negative way. It can be delicious, be it on waffles or on music, provided it doesn't drown everything. What did you think of my waffle analogy?
Yeah, I was like, what's he going
Where am I
with
going? Where am I going with that? Yeah. Also,
By the
live.
way, I like pancakes and waffles.
Heck yeah. Also, live concerts are different. No, it is the grand sonic live experience. Apparently, even the J.D. Sumner dive bombs were impactful for the audience. Not for Gurdip, though.
Not for me.
That's where many fans feel Felton falls short. When his boss was disassociated and impaired, Felton didn't punch up. Oh, Elvis wants strings? Fine. What kind of strings? Horns and strings themselves are not an issue, and if it was so, fans wouldn't rave about American Sound or even sections from the 68 special. What brief did he give the arrangers? How engaged was he? And yes, capable was he to get the gist of what Elvis wanted and get the best out of the arrangements? In fact, if Elvis wanted more horns and strings, how much of an effort did he put in to updating himself to this change? When it comes to whether the undubbed versions are disrespectful to Elvis's wishes, well, we have the approved Elvis masters already. We're not erasing them, though. Given how much Elvis changed his sound throughout his life, it isn't a stretch to imagine that he would like the undubbed sound that is more modern if he was alive today. As someone who became a 70s Elvis fan purely on the strength of the undubbed releases, I can't help but think that these are the right direction of taking the legacy forward. Thus endeth my tedious rant. Cheers, Manassi.
Right. Yeah, I agree with Manassi. It's like, how do you punch back or punch up to your idol or tell him to do it better?
Who's also paying your bills and got you a new kidney.
Bills? Exactly. It's like this is essentially his God, his deity. So how is he going to criticize him or tell him anything rather than just encouraging and, telling him to push on? That's it. Like, it's very difficult for Felton. I could understand that, but when it comes to, like, say, RCA, I would definitely be pushing more. Yeah. And I would be pushing the Colonel for him to do something different.
Yeah.
That's the only people that could have, really. Yeah,
it's a shame because, it's just everyone was coasting. Like, everyone. It's not just that Elvis was coasting. Everyone around him, including the record company, they were content. They weren't pushing. Like, they're like, fans are still buying records. They're going to his tours, and not only that, but we've got a great deal from this '73 deal that we don't even need to worry about the new product. Like, yeah, we need to fulfill those agreements, but we've got the best Elvis music so far already in our back pocket. So let's just repackage the shit out of that for the fans who are going to buy it anyway. Elvis had earned enough trust, and he had even come back from a down period once before with the movie period, in the comeback special in Vegas. So he had earned the trust. So as long as he was fulfilling his contractual commitments, RCA was happy. Like, they were making money. So even they were coasting. They had no real reason to push Elvis in any other way other than fulfill your commitments.
Yeah. It's just, at this point in his life, Elvis wasn't about innovating. He just wanted to keep status quo or do stuff that he liked.
Yeah.
It's not a 50s Elvis or early 60s
No,
Elvis we're talking
no.
about.
And I did think it was funny. So the fans raving about American Sound, and that's the way it is in the '68 special. I will say that's a mostly new phenomenon in the Elvis fandom. That I think, and maybe you'll agree with me, Gurdip, but like kind of have watched that happen in real time in the last 15 to 20 years. Because when I became a fan in the early 2000s, Jumpsuit Elvis was a no-go. Like even for hardcore fans, it was like, yeah, there are obviously people who have always liked it, but the preference was 50s Elvis, rock and roll Elvis. And once you start getting into orchestration, that's too Vegas. That's too, over the top. It's too middle of the road. And I will say, I went and looked up even from Elvis in Memphis, which was well received at the time. It did take criticism for the orchestration. Here's a quote from a review from Pete Johnson at the LA Times in June of 1969, talking about From Elvis in Memphis. Quote, From Elvis in Memphis owes little inspiration to Sun Records or to Stax, because he was talking about the Memphis sound and other Memphis music. Continues, the rhythm section used on the album rarely gets off the ground, the horns are scarce and generally insipid, the musical arrangements are Hollywoodish, and the few simply structured performances seem to spring more from laziness than deliberation on part of the producer and arranger, end quote. So, our beloved From Elvis in Memphis taking shots, back in 1969 from some critics.
Crush it, kick it. You can never win. No, baby, you can't lick it. I'll make you give in. Every minute, every hour, you'll be shaken by the strange and mighty power of my love.
And that's the way it is. I mean, almost universally criticized in rock circles for being too middle of the road and too Vegas. So, that was the big thing when they put out that special edition of the movie, was that there was the shock of like, it didn't do that well because everyone just saw Jumpsuit Elvis and kind of blew it off, like everyone besides Elvis fans. And it's like, yeah.
I think with newer audiences, that stuff from the late 60s and 70s, it sounds a little bit newer than stuff from the 50s and 60s. I mean, that stuff's like, over 65 years old? Yeah. So it's like ancient to people's ears. And at least the 70s stuff, because, it's multi-layered and different, it's a stereo sound. It at least kind of can be considered a little bit modern, that at least we can hear this kind of stuff on the radio.
And the content is much more mature.
Yeah. So, but that's probably why. Now, I'm the opposite. No, when I grew up, it was like all about the 50s. I mean, to me, it's still all
well,
about
for you,
50s.
yeah. I mean, that's your thing, is that it's 50s, early 60s, pre sort of 63-ish, probably.
Yeah, that's my jam. Not that I say that there's songs that I don't like in the 70s. It just, that's my,
it's
that's
your preferred period. Yeah.
It's where I was introduced to Elvis. That's essentially why.
Heck yeah. So, great emails. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for hanging in while we went through all those, Gurdip.
It was great commenting on a show that I wasn't involved in.
Yeah.
It was very fun.
So now we can move on to our main topic. We decided to ease you back in a little bit,
yes, I needed
gently.
To take little baby steps. I'm like a toddler who's putting his, taking his first steps with his arms raised, trying to get you to help stabilize.
A little wobbly. Yes. What are we talking about this week?
We decided to go with a Camden review, because those are always fun. So we decided on Elvis's "I Got Lucky" from October of '71.
Never found a four-leaf clover to bring good luck to me. No rabbit's foot, no lucky star, no magic wishing tree, but I got lucky. I got lucky. Yes, I got lucky. Lucky when I found you. Oh,
yeah.
This is like a sequel, right, to "Come On Everybody"?
It is. Yeah, that's the neat thing. This was weirdly one of the first Elvis LPs that I had, probably within the first half dozen or 7 or 8 or so that I had.
Did you purchase this?
So I think it was at an antique store with my mom, And so I listened to this album so much. I have a weird affection for it, in spite of even at the time being like, there's a couple weird songs on this one. But you're right. It was definitely a follow-up to the Come On Everybody album, because they had previously, RCA had used the Camdens to sort of clean out the vaults of unreleased material. So you would get like Let's Be Friends, and then and obviously Flaming Star, which was the singer one, and then they re-released it on Camden. They did Almost in Love, and then they decided to start doing material that had not been on an LP before. So Come On Everybody and I Got Lucky are sort of utilizing material that had only been on extended plays, because a lot of the movies that this is from, the material come from Kid Galahad, Follow That Dream, Easy Come, Easy Go, and Viva Las Vegas.
And one additional track.
Yeah, which
wasn't on anything.
Will be fun to talk about. But this is all material that had only ever come out on extended plays. So
Right.
this was going to be new for a lot of people if they hadn't bought those EPs at the time. Obviously, they would have seen them in the movie, but to actually buy them, this was a great opportunity to get a budget release. And this was also sort of parallel to the Christmas album in 71. This was sort of the companion piece of, if you're in the store and you're already picking up the Christmas album for the holidays, maybe get this one too.
Why don't you get lucky and pick up?
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember I bought this I bought a tape of this back in the day.
Ooh.
It was like the late 80s. It was one of those cheap ones. It was like $5, I think, at the Bay, which doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, you said yours are really cheap too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was like $4 or $5.
Yeah. Now, how does this cover? What does this do for you?
In terms of,
I don't know. What do you think of it?
what do I think of the album?
No, the cover.
Oh, the cover. Oh, it makes it look like a live album.
Good old black background.
Elvis on stage in a white jumpsuit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, how bland are these fonts? Even they added a sorry little shamrock in the O in the word God.
Yeah.
And I was like, why couldn't they just make it green? They made it blue.
I have seen an alternate cover for this one.
That's the Pickwick one.
The Pickwick one, yeah, where they've taken the I Got Lucky text and they've added...
stylized. It's like more red.
Stylized it. And they've used the same font for Elvis's name on the other one. And they've got like a long swirl from the S, like reaching all the way around.
Almost like a ribbon.
Yes, exactly. I actually saw that one this weekend when I was at the record store. I didn't end up picking it up. I didn't know we were going to talk about it at the time. I might have picked it up if I had known.
You're still perusing record stores, huh?
I am. Yeah.
Anything interesting?
Every once in a while. I did check this. It's actually not so much a record store as a very, very large booth at a trader's market in Rapid City. And but if you took their stock and the space that they take up, it basically is the size of a record store. Like, it's substantial. They have
How much were they charging for it?
I think it was around like $7 or $8.
I'd say that's about right.
Yeah.
Sometimes these people go crazy and they charge like exorbitant amounts for Camden. It's like $30, $40. You're like, are you nuts?
Yeah. No, their prices are very reasonable. They just didn't have anything that was particularly Elvis wise that I wanted to pick up this time. But
right. Nice.
Yeah. So this comes out in October of 1971. It's a fairly short album, 22 minutes, roughly 11 minutes on each side. Compact budget experience. What do we have on the first side, Gurdip?
So we want to go track by track, or you want to go through the whole A side?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. You're in charge. You're driving this train.
Am I? I just got back. You can't put me in. Put me in, coach. So let's just do track by track. Why not? So you open perfectly with the title track. I Got Lucky. Why not? Like, this is a great song. It's a perfect way to open it right on Front Street. And you cannot hate this song. I don't know if I was familiar with this song when I bought this. I don't know if I had seen Kid Galahad yet. I might have. I can't remember the timeline, but even if you weren't familiar with it, this song captures you. It's like, this is great. There's nothing wrong with this song. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's well performed, it's well written, it's well produced, it's just a very nice early 60s movie song.
Right. And then they move right along with another up-tempo track, What a Wonderful Life, I always like this from Follow That Dream. I think this was played during the intro, right? If I remember correctly.
It is, yeah. This is it's not the title track, but it is the main title song. In the sense that it plays over the main titles, the opening credits. And this one, even at the time, I remember noticing when I was sitting down with the vinyl that there was a distinct aesthetic difference between I Got Lucky and Follow That Dream. It's just the quality of the masters, but there is a bit of a style where you're like, why is this muffled slightly?
Yes.
But now I understand that there are other factors in terms of how it was recorded and how it was released, and they really just picked those up and plopped them down on this album.
Yeah, there was no remastering here.
No attempt to make sure that they were consistent with each other in any way whatsoever.
I don't know where I'm going, don't care where I'm going. Like the four winds are blowing, I go on. Laughing the day away, loving the night away, till the moon is gone. It's a wonderful life, this life I'm living. What a wonderful life, living the life I love. Oh yeah. Well, I've got neighbors, I've got friends, anywhere the rainbow ends. A wonderful life, life's good to me.
Yeah, this is cheap and nasty. This is what they were going for. And then we hit I Need Somebody to Lean On. And this is back in the day where I kind of checked out.
Really?
You have two tracks that were fast-paced, and then they slowed it down. Now I think it's a fine song, and I enjoy it more than I did back in the day. But I'm taking you back to the pre-teen, early teen Gurdip Ladhar.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny that even as a kid, you couldn't the patience. So you got two songs that are maybe 4 minutes total.
Yeah,
and then you have one song. To be fair, I Need Somebody to Lean On is a pretty long song. But that you quickly were just like, nope, I'm out. I'm checking out mentally.
Yep. No, but you like it. You liked it when you first heard it.
I did. Yeah, it's a very introspective song. This is one, Rabia did this as Song of the Week. And since then, we now have the Mort Schumann demo of I Need Somebody to Lean On, which John and I talked about when we did a bonus episode on our Patreon about the Viva Doc Pomus. Did you hear the demo at all? Have you heard that?
I probably have. I just can't think of it right now.
Let me just play you a slight clip of it here. It's pretty faithful.
I need somebody to help me. Help me forget all those worries on my mind. And when I'm lonely, someone who lonely wanna be sweet and kind. I need somebody. Want that somebody, please, please listen to my plea. Need that somebody, want that somebody, come running to me.
So they stayed extraordinarily faithful to Mort Schumann's original demo of it. But Elvis, obviously, much better vocalist than Mort Schumann.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, great performance, even if it does drag a bit in the context of this listen.
Now the next song. Now, if you're a pure rock Elvis fan, you'd be like, "What the hell is this?" But if you listen to it with a bit more knowledge that this is from a movie during a specific scene, you can be a bit more forgiving. Now, as you can imagine, back in the day, I hated this. But now I'm just like, it's a novelty song. It's like, it's not too bad. You just gotta, put it in that context.
Yeah.
And you like this, though, I think.
Well, like is a strong term. I think that, that's the thing, is that, like, if someone were to just walk up to me and be like, yoga is as yoga does, what's your opinion? Do you like it or dislike it? I'd be like, it's not a great song. Like, but in the right context. I thought you would have been if somebody walked up to you and said, yoga is as yoga does, you'll be like, there is no in between. There is no in between. Either you love it or you fucking hate it.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, in the context of the film, what it was for,
it was to make fun of Elvis, wasn't it?
Well, the reason why it was basically pitched, to the songwriters, because they wanted to kind of mock Elvis's interest in spirituality during this period. Right. It'd be interesting to see if that's addressed in The Colonel and the King.
Oh, that's true. He was very Larry Gellard during this time period.
Yes.
He was Gellard up.
To be fair, this was written by Gerald Nelson, who was a Memphis guy. And there is the demo available for it. And it's clear, like, even Gerald knew that it wasn't a good song. I think there's interviews with him after the fact where he's just like, yeah, this is... I knew it was crap, too. There is a novel aspect to it. In watching it in the film, it is silly enough with Elsa
Lancaster,
Elsa Lancaster. When you have that in there, the visual, the choreography, it's ridiculous, it's stupid, but it kind of has camp value to it. That's about the time that I can appreciate it. Otherwise...
So come on, don't hold back. Give your everything. Yes, I know you'll make my life peaceful and serene. But I don't want to contemplate spending all my hours trying to look just like a tree or a wilted flower.
Are you blowing the scene? Are you blowing the scene? Come on, I twist my legs, pull my arms a lot. How did I get so tied up in this yoga knot? You tell me just how I can take this yoga serious when all it ever gives to me is a pain in my posteriors.
Did you know she was the bride of Frankenstein?
Yes.
Ah, nice. No, I mean when you first saw this scene.
No, I did not.
No. Okay. I knew right away. I was like, oh my god, that's
her.
her.
Yeah.
She's doing yoga now. Next, Riding the Rainbow. Back to Kid Galahad, and another great track. It's just a simple, airy song. You can listen to while driving around. Big smile on your face. Did you like it?
Yeah. Oh, this was always a fun one. I remember listening to this record and just enjoying. I really found my love of the Kid Galahad soundtrack from this album, which then was bolstered by the fact that I not too long after watched the movie and taped it off TV and continued to watch the movie and fall more in love with the film. So.
But get along, don't bother me. Don't bother me. I'm free to have fun. I'm free to have fun. It's fun to be free. It's fun to be free. While I'm riding the rainbow, I'll follow my star. Oh, I'm riding the rainbow to where you are.
Nice. So if you flip the album, you start off strong. Fools Fall in Love, which is not from any movie.
Easily the best song on the album.
Yes, I agree. When I first heard this song, I can't remember if I heard this or the Drifters first. I don't know. I'm thinking I might have heard this first. But they're both great in their own way, both songs.
They've got their love just burning when they should be playing it cool. I used to laugh But now I understand. Shake the hand of a brand new fool.
Fools fall in love just like schoolgirls, blinded by rose-colored dreams. They build their castles on wishes with only rainbows for beams. They're making plans for the future when they should be right back in school. I used to laugh, but now I'm the same. Take a look at a brand new.
Did we ever discuss Elvis changing the lyrics?
Where
Elvis says, take a look at a brand new fool, whereas the original says, shake the hand of a brand new fool.
Yeah, why do you think he did that?
I have no idea. I was going to ask you. It was like, what would cause that change? Why would you change?
Hand.
So shake the hand. Yeah, shake the hand is the original. And then he says, take a look. Unless he just misremembered the lyrics.
I mean, that's
I'm pretty
probably
sure.
it. But I think it is interesting sometimes to think about why did he, even inadvertently misremember something. What's the interpretive read of that?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's very odd, but I'm sure he had this in his album collection, and he probably didn't really need the lyrics because he thought he knew it well.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great song. Did you have a preference? The original Drifters or this one?
I like them both pretty well equally. I'm not like overly attached to Elvis's version in such a high way, even though I think I heard this version first.
Yeah.
They're just both wonderful recordings, and of course it's a Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller song, so it's wonderfully written. And the reason why this one is on here, again, talking about scraping the bottom of the barrel and trying to carve out anything that hadn't been on an LP before, this was the B-side to Indescribably Blue in '66. So that's why it
flipped. This should have been the A-side.
Probably.
Although the recording's not that great, the sound quality, it's not the best.
True. Yeah, so just one last thought on the Shake the Hand of a Brand New Fool. I think the Lieber and Stoller original that they had the Drifters do, it's very much a like, meet me, here I am, look at me. It's almost like a tongue-in-cheek of like, hey, ain't I such a fool? Here I am. And there's almost, in Elvis's interpretation, take a look, there's almost a, like, he can't help himself that he fell in love so hard, fast. Like, look at me and how pitiful I am as a fool.
Right.
So it's very subtle. It's a very subtle difference, but
to me, it doesn't seem like much of a difference. If you take a look at a brand new fool or something, he's saying, well, in the original, you're like, well, he's talking about how people fall in love like fools. But now here, shake my hand because I'm a brand new fool as well.
Yeah. Whereas Elvis's is more like, man, pity me because I can't help it either.
Don't even touch him.
Yeah. Next up is the Love Machine.
Step right up to the love machine. You may get lucky when you suffer a dream. Let the wheel go round, round and around. You may win that girl you never found.
Meh, soundtrack song. Works in the film, so you'll need that knowledge to enjoy this song. I dig it though. It bounces along well enough.
The one thing that struck me this time that it hadn't before, I get the sense that the songwriters, which were Gerald Nelson, Fred Birch, and Chuck Taylor, I get a little feel, and this is where you start getting into that Elvis films like eating themselves and circling back on ideas musically, if not also narratively. Doesn't this feel a little bit like King of the Whole Wide World?
The poor man wants the oyster, the rich man wants the pearl, but the man who can sing when he hasn't got a thing, he's a king of the whole wide world.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's just the way that it's played. It just sounds very much like a stereotypical Elvis movie song, genre-wise. Like,
Right. But King of the World War is awesome.
It's a better song, but yeah.
Home is Where the Heart Is. To me, this is just all right. It's fine. I was never a huge fan of it, though. Like, now I like it fine,
Right.
but I was never a big fan of this.
Oh, I loved this.
Really?
I liked this better than I Need Somebody to Lean On.
Back in the day?
Yes.
I think you were just a more sensitive kid than me.
Well, that much is true generally, but
yeah.
Even by comparison, I just thought that I Need Somebody to Lean On. Maybe it was the fact that that's more jazzy, and I wasn't as much of a jazz, like, I didn't have the patience for jazz music at the time as a kid, whereas now I appreciate them equally for different reasons. But Home is Where the Heart is just a straight up nice little ballad. So
Yeah, vocally he's great.
yeah.
For home is where the heart is, and my heart is anywhere you are, anywhere you are, is home, 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 home.
You got to stop. Man,
Okay.
from that intro?
This is where I cut out.
Oh, okay. But from that intro, it seems like this song is going to be something like that blows your mind, and then it's just okay. I don't. That opening had that pomp and circumstance, and then you're waiting, and then it's finished.
Baby, you've been lying to me. Now I'm on to you. It's the same old song, but it doesn't ring true. That's right. You're wrong again. Time to change and put you on your own.
One thing that always struck me about this is I vividly remember as well, same thing that I had kind of with What a Wonderful Life, is that audibly there is a problem with the production where I'm
Yes.
like, why does this noticeably sound worse?
Yes. Tinny,
And
kind of.
when you even compare with Yoga Is As Yoga Does from the same soundtrack, the same movie on this album, it's even that's not as bad as You Gotta Stop. It's almost like it's not actually peaking out the signal in the sense, but it's almost like it was recorded too hot to begin with.
Yeah, the equalizers are blowing out.
Yeah, and obviously now I know some of the Easy Come Easy Go soundtrack was recorded with the band in the studio, but in the case of You Gotta Stop, Elvis actually recorded his vocals separately from the band because he left because he was upset after Yoga Is As Yoga Does. But the issue is in the mix that happened with the overdub in the track. And I know the double features one is better, but it's still working with something that's inherently problematic.
You gotta stop. You're wrong again. Stop that song again. You've been stepping out, wild and fancy free. Now you've had your fun and you're running back to me. It just can't be if there's no harmony. Then stop that song. Let's break it up.
And then we finish with If You Think I Don't Need You, the Red West track from Viva Las Vegas. And this is good. Vocally, Elvis sounds great. And it's much better than your typical soundtrack stuff.
Yeah, this is fantastic. And it's one of those that, I mean, even in the film, it's barely in the film. It's meant as like a quick interruption of an existing scene. So this is a leave you wanting more. And then you get the song and you're like, there's really not that much more than what was in the movie. It's pretty short. But if there's one thing you can say about it, Boots Randolph is cooking on the saxophone.
If you think I don't do right, I'll change my ways. I'll do like you want me. I'll be your slave. Since you've been gone, I've been so long.
So I wanted to ask you, there's the core album that we reviewed. But for folks who go find this album on digital services now, they get the version that was in the album collection box set, which has 2 extra bonus tracks.
Oh, which are they?
Which are You're the Boss from Viva Las Vegas and Come What May.
I am yours and you are mine, come what may. A love like ours remains divine, come what may. Even though we're miles apart, you're living in my lonely heart. At night the teardrops start and all the long, long day.
Yeah, Come Away. Come What May is an excellent song. Clyde McPhatter cover, and I have always loved that one. It's great. You're the Boss is fine. I'm not a big fan of Anne Margaret. That's the only thing. But you think those two, they could have thrown those on here.
Yeah, I think those fit extraordinarily well.
Yeah, well, You're the Boss would have been interesting for people. They would have maybe actually went and picked this up more because it's like
if there was an Anne Margaret track, yeah,
like you're getting a song that no one's heard before.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when it comes to knowing which way the wind is blowing on now, baby, you sure are wise.
When it comes to knowing which way the wind is blowing on, Daddy, you take the prize.
Baby, you're a genius when it comes to cooking up some chili sauce. Oh, yeah.
But in the middle of the night when the moon is shining bright, you're the boss.
But not to be. Parker wasn't going to let that happen.
Nope. Not while he's alive.
Wonder if that'll be talked about in The Colonel and the King. So this album came out, and it did actually do very well. In fact, later, I think 40 years later, it was eventually certified platinum, marking 1 million copies sold. At the time, sold well enough to climb about halfway up the top albums chart, peaked at number 104, because it's always the top 200 albums. Which is a slight drop-off from the prior Camdens, but still not bad considering it's all previously released material, whereas the prior Camdens were actually sprinkled in unreleased material. So this is, considering it's stuff that people had already heard, kind of interesting. I did go back and I looked at the original Billboard review for this album, and it says that Elvis Presley's movie material gets ample exposure in this budget-priced LP that features Fools Fall in Love. The rest of the tunes range from things such as Yoga Is As Yoga Does to If You Think I Don't Need You. All tunes were featured in movies. Presley will have a strong seller based on his return to popularity, end quote. That's about as clinical of a review as you could possibly, basically just telling people well, they were in the movies, and it'll probably do well just because Elvis, people are buying Elvis records again. But
Yeah, what RCA made from this far exceeds how much work they put into it.
Yeah. This was they phoned this one in, but it is interesting. So after I had this on LP, I did pick this up as a budget CD years later, because in 2008 it was reissued as a budget CD for the first time, and I remember picking this up for, I think it was $5 at Walmart, and then again, obviously, I got it in the album collection. So
wow,
this is one that I've
multiple purchases
over the course of the year. No wonder it's platinum selling.
I know you contributed to this, their bad behavior.
I did.
You're responsible. This is your fault. You're the reason why we got these.
True. Well, I wasn't there to begin with. So
I know.
All right. Well, yeah. Let us know, folks, what you thought, what you think of the I Got Lucky album. Did you have it in your fandom?
Did you consider yourself lucky for purchasing it?
Did you? Let us know. TCBcast@gmail.com. Gurdip, Song of the Week.
Let's dash over to Song of the Week.
Elvis Presley, and here he is.
Punch it, pound it. What good does it do? Crawfish.
I want a teeny weeny bit, a teeny weeny bit.
See how they run. Who learned a lesson when she broke my heart? I goes da 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 da. That's all.
All right. Well, mine's pretty quick, so I guess I'll go first. I got from the film Double Trouble, "I Love Only One Girl," 1967.
Oh, I love only one girl, the one I got my arms around. I love only one girl, one in every town. In Paris there is me, and when the moon is bright, I love to take her walking along the Seine each night. I kiss her on the left bank, I kiss her on the right. Oh, I love only one girl, the one I got my arms around. I love only one girl.
So the song was recorded on June 29th, 1966 at the MGM Soundstages in Hollywood, which, you know, Elvis loved during the Double Trouble sessions. Yeah, this song, when I first heard it, I was like, what the hell is this? Why is this even a thing? It's almost like a poor man's version of Ricky Nelson's Traveling Man. But I don't know, over the years, as the years have passed, I don't know, I kind of appreciate it as a novelty song. Like, should Elvis have been wasting his time and talent on this stuff? That's up for debate, but to me, it's fine. It's kind of, the lyrics are kind of funny. Like, what other song are you going to have Elvis singing about Brunhilde? And on top of that, she can lift a Steinway. Brunhilde is very strong. And then how about Marie? You know, you can't beat her lasagna, and she provides amore for dessert, which is also good. I like it as a novelty song. I can separate Elvis, the rock god, versus a song like this. It's nice and fun. It's similar to that Petunia the Gardener's Daughter for me, which is a song that you'd be like, what is this? But I don't know. It's just catchy and I like it. What about you?
Yeah, this was on, as we talked about forever ago, Bring Love and Hits from His Movies, Volume 2. And then, weirdly, the last episode that you were on, properly, it was naturally from Double Trouble. So we just talked about this a few months ago. Similarly, like, I can sort of look around how weird it is and just think of it as a kind of a novelty song. It helps that it's, you know, similar to how a lot of Elvis movie songs were adapted from a public domain melody. Which, were you going to talk about that?
No, I didn't even know what melody was.
Yeah,
how about you tell us?
Yeah, Opera de ma Blonde. Which,
there you go.
As I understand it, is a 17th century song about the lover of a French soldier who's been imprisoned in Holland, and she's singing in her garden about how much she wishes she could lay next to him again and all that she would give up in order to get him back.
Il n'est pas dans la danse, car il est loin d'ici. Il n'est pas dans la danse, car il est loin d'ici. Il est dans la Hollande, les Hollandais l'ont pris. Auprès de ma blonde, qu'il fait bon, fait bon, fait bon. Auprès de ma blonde, qu'il fait bon dormir. Auprès de ma blonde, qu'il fait bon, fait bon, fait bon. Auprès de ma blonde, qu'il fait bon dormir.
That's cheery. Thank you for bringing us down.
It was just a sequence to justify, some choreography for that carnival scene in Double Trouble.
In Naples there's Marie, how she can flirt and flirt. You can't beat her lasagna, I eat until I hurt. And then she tops it off with the more for dessert. Oh!
So this was done quickly. It was only 2 takes, with take two being the master. Take 1 is complete, but it's not very, very different from the master at all. But yeah, it's one of those quick songs that probably people even forgot that he did. I think you'd have to go for deep fans to even remember this song.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, it was released on the Burning Love and Hits from His Movies, but it was also on the Double Trouble soundtrack and released in June of '67. And yeah, as you said, we recently reviewed this film and we discussed the song in the film, and it's nice. I do like the set piece of him in that carnival setting. It's fun.
Definitely.
But that's my song of the week. No covers that I saw.
I love only one girl. 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 She's the girl for
Awesome. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that there would be no covers.
No. What do you got?
So for my song of the week, I decided to go for, it is the middle of summer after all, so why not do a Christmas song?
Why not?
Yeah. My song of the week is Santa Claus is Back in Town.
Christmas, Christmas, Christmas.
Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling down.
If you were at Costco, it would be very appropriate because they've already started pulling out.
Have they really?
Yep, 100%. And they got Halloween stuff and they got a few Christmas stuff.
Oh, Lord.
So this would fit right in if you were presenting this at Costco.
That's funny. Okay, so this was originated by Elvis Presley. This is an Elvis Presley song. Recorded September 7th, 1957 at Radio Recorders in Hollywood. Elvis, Scotty, Bill, DJ, Dudley Brooks on piano, Jordan Ayers, Millie Kirkham. This is as 50s Elvis as you can get, and it was written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller.
Specifically for Elvis for these sessions.
Yes. Not only that, at this session, quote Jerry Lieber, in between Jailhouse Rock and King Creole, Elvis was back at Radio Recorders finishing a Christmas album. They were shy one song. Colonel Parker entered the control booth and said, "Hey boys, can you write me one more tune?" I said, "When do you need it?" He said, "Now." We went into the men's room, wrote Santa Claus is Back in Town in about 5 minutes. Mike walked out of the men's room first. As he opened the door to the control booth, I heard Parker say, "What took you so long?"
Did they have to go to the men's room? I'm sure there's many places that you can record songs. Do you have to go to the smelliest room? It's not very conducive of thinking about Christmas.
Yeah. I guess it was probably the quietest room, maybe. They could concentrate a little bit.
Right.
So before I go into anything else...
They're in there trying to come up with lyrics. You hear the toilet flush. It's the Colonel.
It's an intimidation tactic.
He doesn't even close the stall door. He just leaves it open and watches as he's going. He just looks at them. Oh my God.
We read about that in The Colonel and the King.
I hope we do.
So before we get into anything else, what do you think of the original?
Oh, this is one of the first few Elvis songs I ever heard, because I told you besides those singles I had, or my parents bought, they also bought the Elvis Christmas album. And
yeah,
when I heard this, I was like, holy crap, what is this? And it just, because it starts off like a typical, bouncy Christmas jingle. You think it's going to be more, almost like a Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me. But then after the Jordaners finish their part, he just rips into this song like pure R&B bliss. I think I've told you, he's only done this a few times. One Night is one of them. Maybe Reconsider Baby, where he just rips into this track, and wow, this is an all-time classic for me.
And the lyrics, it's just it's just a sex innuendo. Like, that's the song.
Yes, yes.
I mean, he even goes out of his way, the way that they've written this. There's 2 verses where in the first he establishes he doesn't have anything like Santa. No reindeer, no sleigh, no sack.
No.
He's coming in a Cadillac. In the second verse, hang up those stockings. Take them off, basically.
Yep.
Turn off the light, and he'll be coming down her chimney tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. This is
Lieber and Stoller knew what they were doing.
Yeah, everyone knows what they're doing. But why this is interesting now for me is because, did you listen to the episode that Beck and I, where we talked about Trouble as my song of the week?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Okay.
Why?
So now you can't accuse Beck of not having heard every episode of TCBcast.
I might have. I can't remember. I can't remember if I probably have. I just can't remember what you're going to talk about.
Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, even though Trouble obviously came after Santa Claus is Back in Town, it very much has the same sort of stop time blues feel that sort of comes from the Hoochie Coochie Man, of that sexually suggestive side of blues music.
I'm gonna make you girls lead me by my hand, then the world will know the Hoochie Coochie Man, but you know I'm here. Everybody knows I'm here.
Hang up your pretty stockings, turn off the light. Santa Claus is coming down the old chimney tonight. Oh, Christmas time, baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, you be a real good little baby. Santa Claus is back in town.
They're pulling from that influence to do a Christmas song. It's incredibly funny, which is where Lieber and Stoller excel, is doing humorous novelty songs that have a little innuendo. And that's what works so well about the original recording, is that they provided Elvis just enough to absolutely tear into with the band. It's surprising, honestly, how even the lyrics that they have, they kind of got away with. That he's coming down her chimney. It's just an incredible recording. I love this. Love listening to it every holiday season. It's perfect. I got no notes. Like, it's
when did you first hear this?
I could not even tell you. It's possible I even heard it before I was an Elvis fan. You know, it's one of those that's just always been there in pop culture. Certainly, I definitely heard it on, I think, the Camden version of the Christmas album, which had If Every Day Was Like Christmas as well. That was the one that I had first, so that's
the one I had.
Maybe where I heard it. I also had the If Every Day Was Like Christmas CD compilation of Elvis Christmas songs. It could have been anywhere. It's sort of irrelevant, other than it just is a great song. One thing that doesn't get talked enough about on the original Elvis version, Dudley Brooks's piano work is fantastic.
Yeah.
In that, I think that if you had given that to Floyd Kramer, I think Floyd might have overcooked it a little bit. By comparison, I think Dudley gives it just what it needs in terms of like the jazz influence. And it basically just sat on the album for years. Nobody covered it, really, until there's 2 covers that were released during Elvis's lifetime that I was able to find. Well, I was able to find evidence of 2. I couldn't find the actual recording. Apparently in 1965, it was released by Nick Hoffman on the Roman Records label, and I could not find a transfer of that to listen to. And in 1966, the following year, it was also covered by Mae West.
Right.
And those are the only people who I'm aware of that covered it during Elvis's lifetime. I did send you Mae West's version of it. Did you take a listen to that?
Yeah. It was like, I didn't think much of it. She doesn't really give us the blues. She kind of just sings it. She also did Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me, I think.
Yeah, but what I like about it is that she's having a lot of fun with it.
Sure.
And the fact that Mae West had that reputation as an icon of both sexual appeal from the movies, but also humor, it sort of plays right neatly into where Lieber and Stoller were trying to take the song to begin with, but in a very different way than Elvis Presley. And I love that it's almost like in that intro, she's almost like mocking the Jordanaires, because she's like, Christmas, Christmas,
Right.
It's just
she's jazzing it up a bit.
She's very much jazzing it up. It's a little swing.
Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, he's a real good looking baby. Santa Claus is back in town. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas,
But yeah, so it lingers untouched by anybody for all of Elvis's lifetime, with the exception of Elvis circles back to it in 1968. There's a rehearsal recording of Elvis in his dressing room. There's actually 2 recordings where you can hear Elvis jamming, and in the first rehearsal, Elvis does it a little less than a minute, clearly can't remember the words, and they actually start heckling Lamar that he should know the words to help Elvis out.
No sack on my back. You gonna see me coming? In a big black Cadillac. Well, it's Christmas time. And the snow is falling. And the snow. No, it's Christmas time, pretty baby. And the snow is falling. I forgot the way. How's it going, Lamar? Lamar, you should know. Lamar. I'm trying to. Damn, you're the music man. This is the video. Listen to it.
And then in the second rehearsal, you can hear Elvis playing the Peter Gunn theme, and he's talking back and forth with Steve Binder, and they're talking about what they're going to do with telling stories and talking to the audience. And then Elvis just sings a couple lines of Santa Claus is Back in Town. It's a little more formed than that first rehearsal, but it's still very jokey.
Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, I'm gonna grab you by your sagging head. I'm gonna swing on this around.
So he's not taking it overly seriously, but you can clearly hear that he's mulling it over in his head between this and Blue Christmas in those rehearsals of which one he's going to do.
Couldn't someone just grab the lyrics, find the lyrics to it?
If they had wanted to.
Right.
They weren't that keen on doing a Christmas song. So when Elvis goes to do the sit-down shows on June 27th, 1968, the 6 p.m. show, he just does Blue Christmas on its own. But at the later evening show at 8 p.m., he starts off by introducing Santa Claus is Back in Town as his favorite Christmas song of all the ones that he's recorded.
I'd like to do my favorite Christmas song of all the ones I've recorded. Well. Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Yes, I said it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. I wish I knew the words to the song. I wish I knew the words. I wish I knew the words.
This is the audio that gets clipped for the album and the special. And then they cut this song out, making you think and making everyone think for decades that Blue Christmas is actually Elvis's favorite Christmas song.
Yeah,
now,
I know.
Is it actually his favorite? He doesn't seem to remember all the words, which kind of indicates to me it's probably not a favorite in the sense that he listened to it all the time. Otherwise, he would know the words.
But I'm sure it was a favorite in that album. It's like one of his,
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But obviously, performing it live in front of the audience, he does about a minute of it, and the words just aren't there.
No.
He even starts singing, like, I wish I knew the words. Lord knows I don't know the words. And so then they quickly move on to Blue Christmas. It's a shame. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
It's a shame that we never got another full version of Santa Claus is Back in Town around this time.
Right. I was just going to say, do you think Scotty and DJ are thinking back to when this was recorded? Because that's when they had that big blow up.
Oh, yeah.
Scotty and Bill, after these sessions where they were promised time in the studio to record some instrumentals with Elvis.
That's right.
And that's what led to them quitting for a bit until they were rehired. Because after these sessions, it got pretty ugly.
I wonder if that'll be talked about in The Colonel and the King.
Who knows? I hope so.
That's one of your big points of contention with Elvis, especially. But obviously, Colonel Parker is very much in on that. So
yeah. I mean, through not like he didn't do it himself, but through Tom Diskin, he did.
Yeah.
What was your opinion on that? Do you think that was a shitty thing to do?
Of course, it was.
Yeah.
Like they had sort of implied / promised that they were going to give him some time to cut something, and they didn't.
And Elvis said he would join them on some of the instrumentals.
Well,
and then after
he should have stuck around, but he's kind of a naive kid at that time. It's more just he should have kept his word. But
I mean, at least to his friends, it's not like he's like for strangers. It's dudes who came up with him when he got famous. It's not like he's not like doing a favor for some random that he just met.
It's true. Yeah.
I think people forgive Elvis too much. I think he really should take equal blame on this.
Well, if you don't behave your goddamn self, baby, oh, your Santa Claus just ain't gonna be hanging around. I got no red suit and things on rain clear, no sack on my back. You gonna see me coming in a big black Cadillac. Yeah, it's Christmas time, pretty baby.
So he does actually circle back to it again a couple years later in 1970 during the rehearsals for That's the Way It Is. There is, on August 4th, 1970, a rehearsal where you hear Elvis singing a little bit of Ernie Cato's Mother-in-Law before he starts. And again, it's that internal jukebox that's just going because he goes from one song to another. And so after doing that, he starts singing Santa Claus is Back in Town. Yeah. And similarly, this is the one of the rehearsals where he's really not taking anything seriously. He's adding lyrics, joking lyrics. And he even says in this one, if you don't behave your goddamn self, Santa Claus ain't going to be hanging around. Elvis clearly still doesn't know the words, but the band is bluesy as hell. And I wish they had done it. Like, you've got the band, they know how to, turn in a song like this. And he just doesn't have an interest in following that thread. And to be fair, it's the middle of August, so it's seasonally not right, but
yeah, I mean, if they were performing in Costco, it would have helped, but
true. Apparently, he did a one-liner of it a little while later, like a couple weeks later, August 13th, 1970. But there's no known audio of it.
Not like the lyrics are very complicated either.
No, it's really not. It's you have the one chorus, which is repeated 3 times, and then the verses are so simple. Like, I don't know.
And if it was me, I'd be like, Charlie, put those cards down and write down the lyrics.
Somebody find them after all this time. So after Elvis, this is when it starts to be covered by everybody. So 1978, after Elvis passes away, as you and I talked about on a bonus episode, the Jordanaires on their Christmas to Elvis from the Jordanaires.
Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And the snow is falling on the ground. Christmas, Christmas. Yes,
But then in 1987, Dwight Yoakam puts out a version of it. Have you heard Dwight Yoakam's version of Santa Claus is Back in Town? It's good. It's very, I mean, obviously.
Is it Yoakamish?
It is. It's very twangy, but he retains that sort of influence of rockabilly in there that needed to be there.
Sure.
Oh, hang up your pretty stockings. Girl, turn out the light. Santa Claus is coming down your chimney tonight. It's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is on the ground. I said you better be good now, baby. Oh, this old Saint Nick is back in town.
1994, Trisha Yearwood, and in 1996, the Mavericks. So a real grouping of country artists here in the late 80s, early 90s doing covers of it. Trisha's is okay. It doesn't hit as hard as I would have liked, and I know she can do it, but it falls kind of flat for me. And the Mavericks did their version. Raul Malo obviously has a wonderful voice. I did send you a link to that. Did you take a listen to that?
I heard it. And you know I like Raul Malo, but I don't know. I think this is one of those songs, like you said, with Jailhouse Rock, that only Elvis really hit it properly.
Yeah.
Just his vocals. It's like even Raul Malo can't do that, what
Agreed.
Elvis did on this track.
Agreed.
It's very hard to listen to anyone else do this. It's just they don't have those vocals where, as you said, he almost blows out his vocal cords doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Snow that's falling on the ground. Will you be a real good little baby? Santa Claus is back in town.
Got no sleigh with reindeer, no sack on my back. You will see me coming in a big black Cadillac. Oh, Christmas time, pretty baby. The snow is falling on the ground. Will you be a real good little baby?
And that's very much, I mean, it's 1957, so it's around the same time as Jailhouse Rock. And it's Elvis at his 50s peak, for sure.
Yeah, as I said, it's just, he only did this a few times. One Night was another one where it's just the way he sings it. It's just similar to this, and then he stopped doing it after a while.
In the early 2000s, there's a few other covers. I'm not going to go into all of these. Like, there's so many covers of this from like the 21st century. Like, once we hit 2000, it starts to show up in a lot of places.
Like Kurt Russell did a version in that Santa Claus
2012, movie. Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell does it with Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul. And it is, as I understand, Kurt Russell's actual voice. Although I'm sure that they did some pitch correction on it.
Right. And that was probably a nod to his 79.
Oh, yeah, his 79 Elvis. And obviously 3,000 Miles to Graceland. It's just another one of those like notches of Kurt Russell and Elvis going all the way back to It Happened at the World's Fair, connecting their careers. It's neat to hear, like, Kurt has it's fun. It's a fun visual. It's just neat.
Hang up your pretty stockings. Turn out the lights. Santa Claus is coming down your chimney tonight. Oh, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Oh, you be a real good little baby. Santa Claus is back in town. Listen to me now.
Couple Elvis overdub reworking versions. Elvis with Winona Judd on the Christmas Duets album in 2008. Do you remember that, Gurdip?
I think so. I wasn't too impressed, though.
No, that one was certainly not as strong as it could/should have been. And I think what doesn't work about that one especially is that you have the audio quality difference of Elvis's vocal from the 50s with Winona Judd, who's recorded with like modern polish. And it sounds completely jarring.
It's hard to duet. It's hard to duet with all this.
Even with all the overdubs that they've like added in terms of one-to-one matching the instrumentation as best they can, it still just doesn't come close to what Elvis is doing and the original band are doing.
Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground. Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby.
2017, Elvis with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. The blues elements are inherently there in the song, but they take it much more swing, especially they add an extended instrumental section in the middle of it where they really get to have the band, the orchestra, really go for it. I think it's a little too much.
Yeah, this song works better when it's pared down.
Yes, absolutely.
Your pretty stockings, run off the light. Santa Claus is coming down the old chimney tonight.
There's a few from more recent years. Certainly some country artists have done it. Scotty McCreery, Cody Johnson, Lainey Wilson did it on the Christmas at Graceland TV special a couple years ago. Last year, Little Big Town on their TV special, Christmas at the Opry, did it as their finale song. But the one that I wanted to mention to you that has like 2 million odd views on YouTube, there's a Ukrainian rock band called No Apology that did a rock cover of it. And I'm just going to play you a little bit of this here so that you can hear and kind of get a gist of how they did it.
Hang up your pretty stockings and turn off the light. Santa Claus is coming down your chimney tonight. It's pretty sad, pretty baby. Snow is falling on the cloud. The snow is falling down. Oh, you real good little baby. Santa Claus is back in town.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty good, like an original version, a take on it. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, and what I think was most fascinating, when you watch the video, obviously our podcast listeners won't hear this, but it becomes immediately apparent why this video has like 2 million views. It's because the two performers are really hot and they're dressed provocatively. But that gets back to the core of, as we talked about with Trouble and Hoochie Coochie Man and the striptease aspect of that style of music and the blues. That's what this is tapping into. And I think that a version like that does a great job of tapping into that lineage of the music in a way that Elvis, in his original, also captured that sensuality, the innuendo that's there. I think a lot of the covers since then are just like, we're just going to cover an Elvis Presley song for Christmas, and they're not really doing much with that angle on it.
Right, the essence of the song.
The essence of the song, which is you get laid for Christmas. Like
it's sex.
It's sex.
Just coming back, girl. Have you heard it? Santa's back in town. Let's see if they've been naughty or nice. Hang up your stockings and turn off the light.
Well, you be a real good little baby. Santa Claus is back in town.
It's appeared in a ton of movies, as we mentioned, The Christmas Chronicle, Bad Santa 2, Fred Claus, The Miracle on 34th Street remake, just a ton of like holiday themed movies. Apparently, I was looking on IMDb, it's apparently also in Iron Man 3 somewhere.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't remember a lot about Iron Man 3. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And about 100 Marvel movies ago. So,
like even during Christmas time, if you walk around, if you go to the mall or anywhere, the song will come on. Yeah.
It's one of Elvis's iconic Christmas songs, and it's great that it's one that Elvis originated. When people cover this, when you hear it, like, this is an Elvis Presley song. You can point to this. This didn't come from anywhere else. No. It's his interpretation, and he does an incredible job with it. And that's my song of the week. Santa Claus is back in town. Yeah.
Excellent song. Great song.
So,
that's our episode for the week, Justin Gosman.
It is.
My first one since I don't know what time. When? February?
March? Yeah. It was right at the end of February when we recorded that.
Crazy. All right. Well, now I'm slowly ease my way back into it, get reacclimated to doing the show. Try to hit up some Patreon stuff. And if people want to join Patreon to hear that, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can join over at patreon.com/TCBcast. And if you want to send us any thoughts on I Got Lucky, on our songs of the week, on our news, things like that, news discussions, anything like that, shoot us an email, tcbcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Beck's doing a fantastic job over on our Instagram, so please make sure to follow that. And with that, Gurdip,
it's a hot time in Florida.
And a rainy night in Georgia.
You've been listening to the TCBcast, an unofficial Elvis fan podcast. Justin Gosman and Gurdip Ladhar have left the building.
Someone must have stomped on his head with those blue suede shoes.
Thank you and good night.